Hello. Today's reading comes from the book of Exodus, and I think it's got something quite interesting to say with all that's going on in our world. It's from Exodus chapter 2. I'm starting at verse 11. One day, after Moses had grown up, he went out to his people and saw their forced labor. He saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew, one of his kinsfolk. He looked this way and that, and seeing no one, he killed the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. When he went out the next day, he saw two Hebrews fighting, and he said to the one who was in the wrong, "Why do you strike your fellow Hebrew?" He answered, "Who made you a ruler and judge over us? Do you mean to kill me as you killed that Egyptian?" Then Moses was afraid and thought, "Surely this thing is known." When Pharaoh heard of it, he sought to kill Moses. But Moses fled from Pharaoh. He settled in the land of Midian and sat down by a well. The priest of Midian had 7 daughters. They came to draw water and filled the troughs to water their father's flock. But some shepherds came and drove them away. Moses got up and came to their defense and watered their flock. When they returned to their father Reuel, he said, "How is it you've come back so soon today?" They said, "An Egyptian helped us against the shepherds. He even drew water for us and watered the flock." He said to his daughters, "Where is he? Why did you leave the man? Invite him to break bread." Moses agreed to stay with the man, and he gave Moses his daughter Zipporah in marriage. She bore him a son, and he named him Gershom, for he said, "I have been an alien residing in a foreign land." The Quakers don't have a creed. They don't have doctrines, but they do have testimonies. Their testimonies are to equality, peace, truth, justice, and simplicity. But perhaps Quakers are best known for their testimony to peace, because Quakers are pacifists and always refuse military service. On February the 24th, when Russia invaded Ukraine, a colleague posted a blog on why I am not a pacifist. It was about the importance of standing up to bullies. It provoked a lot of discussion on the Methodist UK Facebook group. You can imagine most of the arguments on both sides. One person responded that they were 49% pacifist. Me? I don't know. I think I'm a pacifist, but then I was born 12 years after the last war in my country, and I've never experienced shells falling on my beloved city or my friends or my family or my children. And this little story from Exodus shows us something of the way that violence can escalate. Moses witnesses violent injustice. In turn, he kills the Egyptian who was beating the Hebrew. And the next day, when 2 Hebrews are fighting and Moses tries to intervene to make peace, they throw his own violence back in his face. So Moses runs away. Fight or flight. Seems he has no other options. And yet later, it's his willingness to confront the aggressive shepherds that protects the defenseless women at the well. Perhaps being 49% pacifist is a good thing, because it recognizes that life is complicated. The appalling situation in Ukraine has made me ask myself some hard questions. I may not have led an invading army into my neighbour's territory, but there are times when I've ridden roughshod over other people's views because I believed I was in the right. Lord, have mercy. And there are times when I have run away from conflict because I didn't have the courage to stand up for justice. Christ, have mercy, which is a holier stance. It depends, of course, on the context. What is the right response to violence? To fight might with more might, or to run away? I began with the fact that Quakers are pacifists who refuse to bear arms, whatever the reason. Instead, Quakers work creatively for peace. Quakers have offices in Geneva and New York to support the work of the United Nations. In these offices, they'll invite anyone and everyone to come and have talks there. They invite the goodies and they invite the baddies. In fact, any state that wants to try jaw rather than war. The talks are confidential. No one will tell tales to the press. Quakers believe that the work of peace begins with good communication, not just talking, but also listening. Perhaps all of us can learn something from the Quakers at the United Nations. Can we create safe spaces for respectful listening and open conversation, even on topics where views are polarized and everyone's tempted to take sides? Can we do this in our homes, in our schools and workplaces, in our churches? Wherever there are people, there is conflict. Can we use our energy for the work of peace? There is a cost to this, but we cannot claim it's not our business. Moses marries one of those women at the well, and he names their son Gershom, for he said, I have been an alien residing in a foreign land. Moses' experience has led him towards empathy for others. Perhaps out of our reactions to what's happening in Ukraine, we too are learning more empathy, learning that we are all connected, that we share a responsibility for each other, that peace is everyone's business. On Thursday this week, it's the feast day of John Donne, priest and poet, who died on the 31st of March, 1631. Famously, in his Meditation 17, he wrote this: perchance he for whom this bell tolls may be so ill as that he knows not it tolls for him. And perchance I may think myself so much better than I am, as that they who are about me and see my state may have caused it to toll for me, and I know not that. The Church is Catholic, universal, so are all her actions. All that she does belongs to all. When she baptizes a child, that action concerns me, for that child is thereby connected to that head which is my head too, and engrafted into that body whereof I am a member. And when she buries a man, that action concerns me. All mankind is of one author and is one volume. When one man dies, one chapter is not torn out of the book, but translated into a better language. And every chapter must be so translated. No man is an island entire of itself. Every man is a piece of the continent, a part of the main. If a clod be washed away by the sea, Europe is the less, as well as if a promontory were, as well as if a manor of thy friends or thine own were. Any man's death diminishes me, because I am involved in mankind, and therefore never sent to know for whom the bell tolls. It tolls for thee.